You do a double check on that for me. Looking good? All right. Hi, everybody. Glad to have you here tonight. I know it's Sunday night. To me, it feels like Friday night. So I might bring some extra minutes because this was a very active time in my life. Um, I mean, doesn't get any better looking than that, huh, guys? Def Leppard t-shirt, Romantics haircut, and Billy Idol anger. Yeah, and the reason I'm pointing is I'm not doing a pose. If you'll notice way up here, there's a dart in a power line. This was at, I believe, Bill Turner's farewell as he went into the Air Force. And I threw that dart. We were playing darts like, as you can see, there's a fence here where this is Kelly Dietz's backyard. I'm in Bill Turner's backyard. We're all friends. And I think for some reason we were throwing darts at dartboards like way further than was actually safe. But, you know, we were 17, 18-year-olds being stupid. So that's why I'm pointing at the dart, because that was pretty crazy for me to stick a dart in a power line. Anyway, that's the explanation of the picture. Let's go. Let's talk about all of this stuff. Graduation. First of all, start off right in the beginning. January of '85. It's the middle. It's in between semesters. It's winter break, early January, and my mother and I get in a fight, and she has had enough of me. I'm not a bad kid, but I haven't really performed up to par. I'm a straight C student. I have no idea what I want to do in the future, and she's just kind of had enough, and she kicks me out. And I think we both knew that she kicked me out to my safety net, who is my father. And so I went to live with my dad, my biological father, who I hadn't lived with since I was 6 years old. That was January of '85, and I stayed with him till middle of '88, so 3.5 years. So the last semester of high school, I had to commute. My dad lived like 2 blocks east of East High School, which any of you who know Denver, it was basically I was driving from East High School to Casa Bonita every morning for school. Because I wasn't going to spend my second semester of my senior year, my final semester in school, with people I didn't know. So it was worth the drive for me, you know, kept those bonds, kept those friendships, and eventually graduated. Got there eventually. Yeah, and I was, and then the next month, following month, my dad helped me get a job, February of '85, at a retail store called Yarbrough Drug. Now, this was it was a drugstore, but it was also a Hallmark retailer. And when I worked there, for the 2 years I worked there, it was the biggest Hallmark distributor west of the Mississippi. It was crazy. We put up Christmas trees in June, gift wrap up in June, bows, all that Christmas shit. People get really angry. I was like, sorry, it's not my decision. That type of retail work. And those 2 years of retail finally got me to understand I need to go to college because I need to have options outside of retail and shitty jobs the rest of my life. So that got me to start college in 1986, '87, went to Metro. Finally got out of Metro in '93. It took a while, but I was also working full time, and I had no student debt when I left. So there, retail work. Thirsties, okay. I hope I hope any of you listening can appreciate the wonderful place that was Thirsties. The building's still there. It's right down by the Pepsi Center. Now, you got to understand, in the mid-'80s, there was nothing there. Elitch's wasn't there. Elitch's was still over on 38th and Tennyson. The Pepsi Center wasn't even close to there. Nothing was there. It was rail yards and vacant lots. Sometimes you'd see a Fox run by. The Tivoli was there, and I started working there in 1987 after I quit the retail place. It worked out really well. I didn't have a car. I moved out of my dad's, like I said, in '88, but I'll get to that later, probably tomorrow night. But yeah, I was working at Tivoli in '87, and we would go to Thirsties as soon as I turned 18. That was the place to go. They played they had they called it alternative night, but they played a lot of what I guess back then we called it new wave or industrial, and they did dollar pitchers on Thursday nights, so that was wonderful. And it's funny because sometimes our generation likes to complain about the younger generations and they're just animals and they don't know how to act. I gotta say, we weren't exactly a bunch of ladies and gentlemen at Thirsties. I mean, men and women, young men and women, a pitcher in each hand, just drinking out of the pitchers. $2. It was awesome. It doesn't get any better than that. Also another Thirsties story. I was there with Bernardo Arabalo and I believe Chris Miles and maybe Troy Hunt. and I think Bernie and myself and Chris, uh, there was an upstairs to Thirsties. There was like just a little chill out place. There, the dance floor was downstairs. Everything was happening downstairs, but you could go up, and there was just a little like place for people to cool out. And there was a door on the way, like a maintenance door. And always for fun, we just try it to see if it was unlocked. Well, this was Christmas Eve of 1986, and we decided let's try the lock. And we tried it, and it was open. Only time it had ever been open. So we went up there, and oh, what's up in here? And you could see down through the floor or down through the ceiling, the dance floor, because it was another section. It wasn't the lounge part. It was over this way where the dance floor was. And we were being, little pervy 18-year-olds looking down girls' dresses that were dancing. And then it was a blizzard that night, by the way. It was snowing like crazy. Christmas Eve 1986, and we found the door to the roof, and we peed off the roof of Thirsties in the snow. Christmas Eve, because we were winners. So yeah, that was kind of a fun little story. Also, these years I was going up to Greeley a lot. My friends went to UNC, and we partied a lot. So many memories up there. It was a lot of fun. It's fun. Those years are fun. For me, at least, my memory is that you have so much energy, so much to do, and all the energy to do it. Working full time, going to school full time, going and partying all the time, and still having energy. Dating, sometimes having sex, not me, but there you go. Doing all that stuff. It was an amazing time. But we went to. I have a couple quick stories about Greeley. Most of the time, we just go up there, kind of get drunk. It was about an hour drive for me to go up there and see my friends, but it was so worth it. I hadn't made any of my tight friends down in Denver yet. I would do that eventually as I worked longer at the theater. When I say the Tivoli, it used to be a movie theater. It's been a brewery since I think the 1800s. And the smokestack, you can see it from downtown, just off of Spear. I'm sure you've all seen the Tivoli smokestack. Well, back when I was there in the 80s and 90s, it was a movie theater. It was a very busy movie theater. At one point, it was the busiest movie theater in the state. In the late 80s, it was 12-plex, one of the first real multiplexes. And I worked there for 6 years while I got myself through college. Excuse me. And I don't know why I got back to Tivoli. I just want to say what my reference is. If I say the theater or if I say Tivoli, same thing. So worked there, went to school, and then when I had time, I would try to go to Greeley and see my friends, and that was fun, a lot of fun. We get, pretty shit-faced because, you could, that was another thing I didn't tell you guys about. Back then, you were 18, you could drink, period, just like 21 is now. Back in, I think they grandfathered people in 1987 or 1988, so if you were 18 before 1987, you got to drink with the big boys, which I think is the right thing to do. I think it should be that way now. You can go die for your country, but you can't have liquor. Come on. So we would do that, party at Thirsties, go to Greeley. Like I said, I got a couple stories about Greeley, and I'm going to go long tonight because I've had coffee. I'm way more awake I was than last night, and these were big years, a lot of stuff going on. I know I'm forgetting a ton or just not telling a ton, but there's a lot going on these years. In Greeley, one of my memories is just the odd people you would meet in a really big campus college. Like I said, I went to Metro. There's no Greek system. There are no dorms. It's one of the biggest non-campus. When I say non-campus, non-dormitory, nobody stays there. Nobody lives there. It's one of the biggest in the school in the USA. Maybe the biggest between Metro and CCD and UCD all being there. It's amazing. But so to go to Greeley was kind of a different experience, and I was sometimes kind of jealous because my friends, when they weren't studying, were partying. They barely worked. I don't think most of my friends didn't work. They just went to college and did the college thing. So I'd go up there and meet some pretty crazy people because they all had they had roommates or dorm mates or whatever you call them. And one of these guys was a Mexican guy named Jorge, and he went by George because he was desperately trying to be as American as he could, as quickly as he could. And he was just an unusual guy. He had glasses, which isn't terrible, but a lot of people were wearing contacts in the late 80s. Glasses weren't cool back then. But he had these big glasses, and he had a fro. He didn't have straight hair like most Mexican guys I had known up to that point. But he had big curly hair, like a fro. And then he worked. This poor guy worked at the meat packing plant, Montfort. I don't know if you've heard of it. You've probably smelled it once or twice, but it's a big meat packing plant. It's stunk up Greeley off, and sometimes you can smell it all the way down here. And this guy's job was to kill the cows before they went to slaughter. That was his job. Apparently, there's some sort of, I don't know, I don't remember very well, but some sort of like CO2 cartridge gun where you blow them away. It sounded horrific. And this guy did this like in the summers to make money. And then he's just a weird guy. And one time we were all partying, we're all playing cards and getting drunk, and he starts. This girl starts to like him. We're so happy for him. We're like, man, George, this girl actually into George. And George is a little drunk, but not super drunk. And we're trying to encourage him, but not screw him over. We're just, this girl likes you, George. You should maybe just take her to the dorm. Take her to your dorm. We'll all stay out. Not necessarily. We don't know what he's going to do, but at least you can just be alone with her and just talk to her if you want. He gets her back there. And apparently, because they were back like 5 minutes later, she was white as a sheet, and he was very confused looking because he had decided upon getting back to his dorm room that he would show her his knives because he thought it would be cool to show her his knives. This poor guy was so, I mean, maybe that's cool in Mexico. I don't know, but it didn't work in 1986, 87 with college girls in Greeley. Also, another memory back there up at Greeley, one of my best friends, Kathy, who I was supposed to text and forgot to text at 8, so I'm in trouble. Hopefully she's watching. She went up there, and I fell in love with her instantly. She was very cute, and she dated, first she dated my friend Troy, and then she dated my friend Chris, and she dated Chris for a very long time. We all thought they'd get married. They didn't, but hey, whatever, shit happens. But the first day I met her, she had a Walter Payton jersey on, and I thought in 1986, 87, a girl that wore a Walter Payton jersey, that's pretty damn cool. And she's still one of my best friends to this day. But her sister was up there in 1987. Her sister's very hot, and her sister is 2 years younger than her. So her sister was only like, or 3 years younger than her. Her sister was only like 16, and she's up drinking with the big boys who are 19 and 20. And most of us were sophomores at that point. And she's getting pretty hammered on vodka, and we're all, the guys are kind of looking out for her, like, okay, don't let anybody get her alone or anything. Kathy's really paranoid, and we're like, yeah, we're watching her. And there's this guy there, he's getting pretty drunk too, and he gets in an argument with her, and I'm sitting here, he's sitting to my right, she's sitting to my left, and this is how 1987 this argument was. Over who's better, Bon Jovi or the Beastie Boys. And he's just screaming at her over this table, standing over her like he's going to do something to her. I'm like, dude, chill out. I said, she has her opinion, you have yours. Just calm down. It doesn't matter. It's just music. He's like, I'll kick your ass. First things out of his mouth. I'm like, oh, great. Yeah, hey, man, I was invited to this party. I don't know about you. I thought that would diffuse, and I looked the other way, and all of a sudden he just plows me. And just starts beating the shit out of me, and I never had a chance. I mean, it was a total sucker punch. I probably, in a fair fight, I wouldn't have had a shot anyway, to be honest. A, he's bigger than me. B, I can't fight. So, luckily, after about a minute of him beating on me, everyone's like, pulled him off of me. Probably the thing that got it worse that night was a poor table lamp in the corner that we both went crashing into. That thing was destroyed. And then, oh, and by the way, that was the only time I've ever tried mushrooms. So that was a bad experience. Haven't tried mushrooms since. Sandwiched in between 2 Cool Ranch Doritos. Thought I would get high with my friends. Next thing I know, I'm getting beat up by some angry dude. So, and also, that was the last fight I've been in. I haven't been in a fight since 1987. So, if you ever want to look good, fight me. You'll probably win. There you go. Geez, that's a lot. I've been going almost 15 minutes. I still have a few more things to talk about. I'll go rewind to high school when, because there were a few highlights there. I mean, obviously I graduated. That was nice. But in the spring of 85, near the end of the school year, here's another 80s thing that I would love for it to come back because it's so dumb. I mean, lip syncing is back, I guess, and you can see it probably on TikTok or YouTube. But now, back then, I mean, we had air bands and actually had competitions. Air bands, total lip syncing. guys acting like they're playing drums, guys acting like they're playing guitars, and we won our air band that night. And it was kind of cool because my school was very, very white, but we were friends with the few black guys. And literally half of the 6 black people at my school were in the one family, the Brooks brothers. And so it was me and my friend Troy, my friend Dominic, another guy named Frank, and the 3 Brooks brothers, Anthony, Donald, and Steve. And we did Morris Day and the Time, The Bird, and we rocked it. And the school loved it, and it was the crowning achievement of my high school career, because it was, like I said last night, it's very average, straight C student, small circle of friends, no highlights except for winning air band in the spring of '85. That was a lot of fun. Let's see, I am looking at some notes. I don't really have, I guess, too much more to say. I've gone almost 7 minutes over, it appears. Like I said, 87 was a big transition year. You know, I got into school, dropped the retail, got into the movie theater, started going to Greeley less and less, and started making new friends at Tivoli. I will leave you with this, the one thing I forgot about. And to preempt this, I always have told people, and I try to tell my kids this, surround yourself with good people. Because you could be king of the dipshits, or you could be the guy swabbing the deck of the brilliant ship, and I would rather be the latter. I've tried to surround myself with people who are smart, ethical people, good people, and I've been very lucky, and it's been very helpful through my life. You know, I could have easily probably been the king of a bunch of idiots, but I didn't choose that. I chose to choose my friends pretty carefully, or at least it's pretty easy to find out who the dipshits are, right? And you hang out with the ones who aren't, and I think it enhances your life. So my last, and this is kind of a goodbye to the Bill Turner years, because once we graduated, we didn't see each other very often. Once in a while, he would come back from the Air Force, and we've seen each other at a couple of high school reunions. But I hope he's listening tonight, because no matter what, we're friends forever. I know we're on different ends of the political spectrum, but he's a great guy, and I hope he thinks I'm a great guy. But this is a funny last story about me and Bill Turner. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of scrubbing, but scrubbing was our term for if you would catch a kid was like an underclassman on senior day, or maybe we did it in junior high too, like on ninth grade, as the last day of ninth grade, they catch an 8th grader. Scrubbing was putting makeup all over a kid's face. You would really just like put class of '85 on his face and just really make him look like, I don't know, Mimi maybe from the Drew Carey show. I mean, that ridiculous. And so this is another example of my friends being smarter than me. We were watching what they called powder puff football. The girls, the juniors were playing the sophomores, and the teachers were playing the seniors. It was all female football. And we were watching that on the hill of our school, on our school's practice field. And William could see the seniors starting to circle us. So this is junior year. I'm sorry, this isn't senior year. This is junior year. But William could see the seniors starting to circle us. And he's like, I'm out of here. And I'm like, come on, man, I'm not going to do anything. There were teachers around. I really thought the teachers would help us out. William was right. William left, and I stayed, and I was like, I'm just going to watch the game. Once they saw, it was like wolves on an elk, man. I was done. I just sat there. I was like hoping they wouldn't do anything, and all of a sudden just like 6 of them came and just grabbed me. One of them was a wrestler and put me in a chicken wing, and if I moved my face so they couldn't put the makeup on, he would crank on my arm more, so I just had to sit there and take it, and joined William later with more makeup than I've ever worn in my life, which is a lot because I don't wear makeup very often. So there are my stories for the night. We went 20 minutes tonight instead of 10. I hope you were entertained. I hope you found at least some of it funny or entertaining, and hope you enjoyed it. Once again, stay safe. Take care of yourself, stay healthy, and have a good week. Enjoy your Sunday night, and I'll see you tomorrow night with Chapter 8. Things get interesting then too. 88, 89, and 90 are the 3 years we'll cover tomorrow, where I turn 21, and a lot of things happen. Thanks a lot, you guys. Have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow night. Bye. Thank you. That was a long one, but... Okay.